like pulling through the day now. Just had a nap. I've just gone into a second saline wash of my nose, and I'm taking a natural spray, even though I haven't got the prescribed nasal drops for my nose. And as I was just waking up, I just felt this like, prior to going for a nap, I was thinking about the word aligned and speaking about the hate, sexual hatred, sexual attraction hatred, or friendship attraction hate, that just kind of hatred when it comes to attraction, when what's the result of what somebody wants is the complete opposite to what they're putting out. And I was listening to a speaker online, and she said something to the effect of, when you say I am bip, 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 it's like putting a request to the universe, and therefore you should be more mindful in the way that you speak. Well, I don't have that mindfulness yet, even though I can be shown and respond to things, and I have my own spiritual way about me. But I really hope that from this moment onwards, and staying present but going forward, that I'm aligned with love that comes across as love and is meant as love, and friendship that is genuine and meant as friendship, and not this two-way communication and the cat syndrome thing. The cat syndrome thing is something I just wrote about in Cavanaugh's Hearts, where I've seen a pattern of, for instance, if a man does something, then a woman has to come and do it. It's just, there's a group of people, some floating somewhere around me. I don't think this is just random. This appears to be organised. They're trying to prove it again is another thing. So I'm just going to speak from my own fictional. Let's just make this is an imaginary thing, which is not. But I've come up against something or somebody doing something, and you imagine. It's like another interruption. It's another snatch flow. You know, that's what the whole snatch flow project's about. It's about, you know, things that interrupt natural flow. So where I would naturally look at a man or observe something and nobody would notice, now I appear to be observed for what I observed, and then somebody seems to want to counteract that observance. So if I look at someone and think they look really fantastic and blah blah blah, and it happens to be a male, it appears to be a female that will just shove. It just happens occasionally, but it just seems to be a pattern that I've noticed. But hey, I just hope in the future. I mean, so this project is not, when it comes to aligning yourself with the universe and requesting from the universe what you want. I don't know that this project has done the best of that, in a sense. This is really about self-expression and healing. And for me, it's like nothing else will open up for me until I get this out. As much as I've tried to hold back, ignore it, this has been like a year-long project now. So, and it just consistently keeps coming urgent to me to do. And just to get these little snippets out of different parts of the experience. But I really hope I'm aligned with the best things, aligned with the paintbrush. Just want to hold the paintbrush again, and I want to kiss the paintbrush, as I want to hold my lover, as I want to my lover like he is my best friend. And I just want to live life in reality, but in the best cuddle of reality. Even though I'm so grateful for what I've experienced, you know, all the opposites and everything that happened that I didn't want to happen has really taught me what I want. But before I get ready to request from the universe and really listen and learn the best way to request, all these interruptions, the best way to request, the best thing to do, I don't know, is just to become aligned. And it's really good. I'm just going to speak this out because it's really about energy. A lot of times throughout this project of putting my diary down and doing a spoken journal for over a year now, is holding on to the energy. And that's really interesting because I learned that when I used to go to spiritualist churches and stuff like that. I really learned about energy, and when I really became a member and started wanted to become serious about it, and then, as if in coincidence, this was all around the time everything just started to kick off and go to what it was. I remember doing an experiment where the teacher in the class said it's always permissive, like for people to touch your energy, people aren't supposed to come and hypnotise and start poking around your aura and start to do all these different things to you, which has been my experience. But it is really a set-up situation where one party asks the next party, can I work with your energy? And then it's agreed. It is not this whole, tearing into somebody in public and all this kind of thing. It wasn't like that. So the experience I had was with a lady, and she sat in a chair, I went round her back, and I was advised, try and see if you can feel if her energy is permissive to you. And the most interesting thing was, when I went, I could sense she didn't want me to be in that area. She didn't want to be touched or connected with. And so I pulled back. And obviously, I relayed this to the counsellor, the teacher who was taking the workshop. And then she advised it's possibly because she's got an angel, her guardian angel is standing at her back. And she hasn't given permission. The relationship between her and her angel didn't give permission for anybody else to enter. So there wasn't the energy connection there. And often I completely love the experience, even though I don't go so often now. Due to the experience of being stalked, I started to see things and realised in too many coincidences, and it just didn't become, it wasn't again comfortable to me. And I suppose I just grew past that stage of things, really. But one of the things I really enjoyed about going there and seeing the examples of what they did and the demonstrations of what the mediums and psychics and teachers, healers did, was they worked with energy. And I found that I can resonate with that flow now, because as I'm talking, I decided I was going to do this year and keep putting things down, even if it was repetitive and boring and laborious, until the energy goes. And so coming to this piece, which is going to be called Ready to Request, I'm now out of the flow almost of it. Like, I'm scratching for things to say. I can't still feel that urgent energy. It's not really coming out as consistent poetry. That's the way of it's really scraping the floor, clearing the boards, digging out everything when I just know it's over. And the reason I made so much, it appears in some way that I made so much of it, but it really wasn't that. One day I got up and I wrote Poetry Index 1. I just wanted to share. I've got a beautiful room I sit in, even though it's not beautifully decorated. I haven't even started to decorate and declutter properly yet. But the sun, it's just an absolutely bright room. And I'm just sitting here and I remember feeling forced against. And because I look out and I can actually see the high-rise buildings of the city. So I'm looking at profit, it would appear. And I'm sitting here and I remember I was still on self-employed benefits. I desperately wanted to find a way to get back to work. I did not know how it was going to happen. And I thought, okay, I'll write the book. And unfortunately, when you can't touch reality, you haven't got a lot of knowledge about things, just hoping one thing will give you a break, and it's difficult to see. I just eventually got to the point where I said, I'm just going to write it anyway. It's not about, I see people have bestsellers, and if you're a writer, I suppose that's one of your ambitions. It'd be great if you could do that and live off it and get the right deal. But I was nowhere close to a deal, nowhere close to having any kind of referral to healing or therapy or anything like that. Because to be honest, I didn't think I needed it in that way. I needed something, but not. I was fed up of always having to go to somebody else to do something. I wanted something that came from me, but I didn't have to depend on anybody, and I could just get my life together and go on. And this was the way. And it's meant more years staying at just work home, shop home. I've been in the kind of inertia, I suppose. I haven't really felt to socialise. My whole intention was, I thought, if I can get the groundwork together of what I had been through, then when I go to socialise or network and things like that, I would have built up a body of work and have built up a body of understanding in writing, at least, of what I am. So it gives something away of what I'm like and what I've been through, because I just didn't feel comfortable going, and people say, well, what have you been doing, and and you've got to keep saying, well, this happened to me, and it's just so bizarre and so weird, and nobody would agree with you that is what happened. And it's so painful because you've been through you could see what people are doing. You could see what it is, and you're still trying to take responsibility and not to be stuck in that thing. It's everybody else's fault, not mine, because that wouldn't be the truth. But yet, it's just this void, and so a gap in your life is just void, but you've got to fill it. And I couldn't resonate with it because I knew something else was there, and so I decided to write. And I just thought it would be the one book, but one book led to another, and I just really started to see. I started with the blogs actually. I really started to see, you know what, this is. I've always done this in private. This is something I'm enjoying, and actually, once I pressed publish and went out in public, even though I don't write as my actual name, I'm there. I've signed all my art and everything. It just changed the attention that I was under and all the negativity that went along with that tension. I started to see changes in it. I thought, well, I really got past that. My surrender was, I don't even care if anybody likes it, anybody buys it. A lot of my books, I think all of them are free to read, if you've got the right account with the right with the publisher. I'm just going to do it anyway. It's not going to be about working towards a book deal, trying to get anybody to notice, even though I went through some of the traditional processes, and obviously my work isn't to that kind of marketable whatever. I don't know whatever their standard is, but thank goodness for it. But I just kept going. Regardless of whether people bought it, and I'm lucky in the fact that there has been that interest, but I was just going to do it anyway. It really has been a project. I'll do it anyway, and I've written now for, it's coming up to nearly 2 years now, and it has cleared me. It is a therapy that I need. Each book has chipped away at things that were presented to my life. That's what I should say, the most positive thing I can say. It was presented to my life for me to work with. But when you're connected to the universe, when you want to see the bigger picture, when you want to see the potential for something else that can fill your goal, that has been the true journey. The only thing that I have not been able to live, and I feel it almost sits in my third eye, is I've been so far into the story, so far into this, I haven't really been able to step back from it just yet. I've got 2 more projects to do. This sound project is one. I've got another sound project to do, and there is another platform I want to get to, if it be the will of the universe. And but it's been such an interesting journey. But if you take it on and you really decide that you want to self heal, it is so true that the universe will meet you. I express that the gods will fall or rise to meet you wherever you are. The universe will fall or rise. The universe will be there for you, regardless of where. If you're on your down, you're in the lowest ebb, and you have the intention, and you're saying, okay, you may be an addict. You can't avoid having the last drink. I was a cigarette addict. I couldn't avoid it sometimes having that, just drawing on that last cigarette. But as I came to, I actually eventually gave up cold turkey. I tried all the patches and all the other different things, but the intention was eventually there to give up. And I just say, right, this one, I know at some point, I just one day I just put the whole lot down and never took them up again. And I actually remember keeping this packet on top of my wardrobe in my bedroom, and I kept it there as a test, so I would never ever yearn for them again. And I didn't. Actually, somebody else came in and took them away, I think. But the universe is a great place, despite the suffering we go through, and it is. Sometimes you can get in that space, as I explained earlier, that where you just think, how am I going to get from there to there? And is everybody said anything? What about this situation? What about what you're going through here? But if your intention is never to stay there, never to be in the wound, never to be the victim, but to recognize it and validate each stage of everything you feel, each stage of where you're at, then that will be rewarded in the sense, before you even know it, you may not even recognize it. And this one, there is that saying, stop and smell the roses and smell the coffee, because I got into a momentum where I got back into work. Thank goodness somebody offered me some work and it got me going. Thank goodness for that person. And I have managed to get myself on track and get off benefits, which was the biggest thing for me, because I started off that way and I managed to get myself out of it. Then I managed to go back in. Then going back into it, circumstances around me, I just had to get the rent paid the next week, and I just had to go, and it just spiraled into something completely different, which it was unintended on my part, but for the universe, obviously, it was a lesson. I have to see it as a lesson. Well, I don't have to, I choose to see it as a lesson. That's just me, and it has brought me to a completely. I am beyond glad, and thank goodness I'm strong today. I don't feel to break down and cry about it, but I am truly grateful, and I am amazed at the journey this has been. And to be honest, after doing this project, and if I get to the next project, I still don't know how I'm going to use this. I know all I do is put it out there and make it available for anybody who wants to take an interest. And that's what's been the most important thing. When people come after you, whether it's you've been abused, or you've been stalked, or you've been bullied at school, they're asking you for a piece of yourself. That's what it is. And it's generally because they've lost themselves. They look at you, somebody's jealous of you, and sometimes people don't transfer or turn around feeling, and somebody attacks you for being successful at this. And what maybe you can turn on and say is that, isn't this what you want to do? Why haven't you found your way? Maybe sometimes things can turn around for some people if it's not violent or dangerous. Them to ask somebody, well, do you want to learn about what it is I do? Would that help you achieve it yourself? But that can be incredibly dangerous, so it's not something I would advise anybody to do. I'm not in a position to advise anybody. Anyway, I don't have any insurance to protect myself. I can only express my experience. But I definitely learned this. When I had twitches in my stomach and I would look at somebody and I knew I wanted to achieve something, I would almost label what I felt as being jealous of the person, but I didn't want to covet what they had. I didn't want to take away their success for them or do anything to thwart them. Even though I've been negative, there've been times I've listened to people and that has resulted in doing something, saying things about other people that wasn't true, and I've had to go back and apologise and say I didn't realise myself what I was doing, and I'm very sorry. This is where it came from, and make sure my life is removed from there, so I'm not a continual burden to them. And so I've been there. I've been in some very negative circumstances because I came from judgment and criticism and other things, and that was all I knew until I grew out of it. And so people would suffer beside me and be hurt and offended by me, even though I didn't mean for that to happen. But there is a way. There is a way. If you're fortunate, if the circumstances aren't so violent, you can get away. But in loving memory of those who haven't been able to get away, who didn't have the time, and it may seem cool to say it wasn't their journey. Things can happen untimely, not intended. But I can only be grateful and thankful for the love and the sacrifice that those people were forced to make and made. And I still choose to. I cannot really say I'm a spiritualist. At one time I would have said I was, but I think the movement of mediums and psychics and people who pay attention to senses outside of the five senses and the density of the world, the way it appears when you don't open up to the limitless levels of communications they are, really taught me to be grateful for life and the transition from the body back to just being energy, rather than energy formulating design into the organs of the body, the skeleton, the skin, and everything, the psychology and everything that we go through with life. But I think they're never to be gotten, our loved ones. That part of everybody believes different. Some people is ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and the person's body's gone in the grave, and that's it. But I believe that the blessings live on, that the person was, and the energy doesn't just end, it's forever there. Otherwise we won't have kept going if it hadn't been. But in loving memories, specifically for those people who have lost their lives, having been stalked, whether they took their lives and they couldn't say no to suicide, I'm giving thanks to you right now in this present moment for encouraging me and for just being present, just being in our thoughts and our memories, in the odd joke, bringing tears to our eyes as we walk down the street or as you're driving along. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so gratefully thankful. Thank you for my healing. So let it be. Praise creation, praise love, praise be, praise be. The love that's for me, praise be.